Let me show you a simple thinking habit that you can do while eating. So for this, all you need is your food, Post-it note or paper, a pen, and a timer. So let me show you how this is going to work. The first thing that you want to do is you want to list what you want to eat that meal. So if you're going to eat lunch, write a list of every food that you want to eat for lunch. So you list it all out. So what this is going to do is this is going to create a checklist, and it's going to create awareness so that you know exactly where you're going to eat that meal and to make sure it's the right food. So again, let's say lunch, and then you fill out the blanks where you're going to eat that meal. Like I said, I'm not going to tell you what to eat. I'm just going to give you the system on how to track it in the unique habit. So that's the first step. Let's go on to step 2. Step 2 is set a timer to time track. So we get our physical timer or phone timer. And then once you start eating, you set the timer. So this gives you awareness, you know how long you're actually spending on eating. And also this gives you more motivation since you know you're spending more time a day on success habits. So if you have the right foods that you're eating and also you're thinking, I consider that success habits. So win-win. And then once you finish eating, you just stop the timer. Now, I'm not saying you have to completely stop doing this, but if you want to be more productive while you're eating, is usually when you're eating, like for me, is I watch a lot of entertainment videos, like let's say on YouTube, like let's say on social media while I'm eating. But what you want to do instead is you put your phone away or your laptop. So for number 3, you replace your phone or laptop with pen and paper. So for this, you can either use a Post-it note or you could use a regular piece of paper. So for this idea, I'm going to use a regular piece of paper. Since the Post-it notes I showed you, you can use that to write down what you want to eat for the meal. So you get your pen and your paper. And then let's go on to the next step. Now you technically could use, like let's say Google Docs or any online notes to do this, but if you want no distractions, you want to reduce your screen time, then I would recommend pen and paper. It's a lot easier. And then after you wrote stuff down on pen and paper, then you can write it down on your online notes. But for eating, I would recommend starting with pen and paper instead of phone or laptop. Now for step 4, let me show you what you want to write and think about. So at the top of the paper, you're either going to write one thing that you want to improve or one problem that you want to solve. So for example, for me, at the top of the paper, I might write, how do I stop sleeping so late? So let's say stop sleeping so late. And then once you wrote that at the top of the paper, when you're eating, you can think of ways and ideas to stop sleeping so late. So you'll be eating, and then once in a while you stop, and then you write what you thought about. So that's an example of a problem that you want to solve. Or what you could do is write something that you want to improve. So for example, for me, something that I want to improve is I want to deep focus longer. So let's say focus for more minutes a day. So those are your 2 options, something that you want to improve or problem that you want to solve. But I'd recommend only focusing on one question at a time per meal. So that way you can think of super specific answers and improvements, and you won't feel overwhelmed for trying to solve or improve multiple things at once. So let's say for eating, for this example, we're going to do stop sleeping so late as an example. You can do the same with a Post-it note, but if you want to write a lot of stuff, I'd recommend paper. Number 5 is the strategy. So let me show you the strategy for this. So you're going to get your paper, your pen, and then your food. So this is what you're going to do. So at the top of the page, you have a problem that you want to solve or an improvement. So for me, I wrote down stop sleeping so late. So while I'm eating, I'm going to think of solutions for that problem. And then this is what you want to do. So while you're eating, you think of solutions for that problem, or if it's something that you want to improve, you think of improvements. And then once you thought of a good idea, you'd stop eating and then you'd write it down. So for me, I wrote down finish tasks 1 hour before bed. So once you write that down, you can continue eating. And you'll be surprised of how many good ideas you can actually think of with this strategy, because all the time you're spending on eating, now you can use that to also think instead of just using it for entertainment time. Imagine how much that would help you. So you're finding things that you can improve in your life or somebody else's life, or you're thinking of solutions to solve a problem in your life or somebody else's life. Focus on improving your life, but also improve other people's lives. You need to do both. So this strategy will help you think of ways to do that. Now, here's the last step. After you finish eating, you write down the time it took you for the meal, and then you want to write down what you actually ate. So remember, before you started eating, you wrote down what you're gonna eat. Then after that, you write down ate, and then you're gonna write down what you actually ate. So you can think of that as a checklist. Did you actually eat what you said you wanted to eat? And then as a bonus, after you wrote down this stuff on your paper, you can write that on a Google Docs or any online notes that you use, and then go take action so it actually helps you.